Raining again. Well, here's an idea. How about we make a video with some good news this time? All right, everybody, welcome back. I've actually got some good news for a change. So to start off with, in the last video, we were pushing coolant into our overflow. And I kept saying, at the extreme end, we may have a blown or a leaking head gasket. On the simple end, I was thinking, hey, maybe it's just a radiator cap. So before I went out testing for, a blown or leaking head gasket, something like that, I decided to just go ahead and spend the money and, buy a freaking $12 radiator cap, right? So I went out, got these, guys, I like these caps. They're only about $10, $12. They're 16-pound caps. They've got the little pressure relief valve here. So, if the car's still hot, you can kind of relieve pressure before you pull the cap off. You've actually seen me use these on everything on this channel. We've got got one like this on the DR Nova. We had one on Steppenwolf, all that. Anyway, I got the cap, put the cap on. I went out and I made a couple hits in the car, and I am happy to say it did not push a drop of coolant. So that whole time where it kept filling up the overflow every time I got on it, apparently the cap, this billet China boy here that came with our Alloy Works radiator, apparently this cap was just not holding the pressure in. Now the spring feels pretty dang stiff, but I think maybe it's just the shape of it or something. Maybe it just wasn't sealing right, because even when we got up to only like 180 degrees in the last video, it was still filled up my little puke tank here. So yeah, that's all it was, guys. I said it was either head gasket or this. I really couldn't think of any other thing that would be causing me to push coolant. Either a leaking head gasket, leaking compression into the coolant system, or the cap. It was, in fact, the cap. So we got off lucky there. That's awesome. I don't have to pull heads. I mean, it wouldn't have really been that big a deal, but in the same ride, it's a lot easier to just put a cap on than to pull heads, right? So we got more good news. You guys know, since we got the twin turbo set up together, I've been having issues with boost. We kind of figured out that we only had 4-pound springs, where they're supposed to be 7-pound springs, but they ended up being around 4 or 5-pound springs. Then we figured out that instead of running our reference for our wastegates directly off the turbo, we gained over a pound of boost by running the reference up here directly off the manifold instead. So we were making about 4.5, I think is what we figured out, or right at 4 pounds of boost. It was like high 3s, low 4 pounds, somewhere in there. So then I was trying to play with our 4-port Mac valve here, and I believe I had set the duty cycle at, I want to say 30%. And I want to say there was a reason I did that. So Matt Happel kind of helped me out. He messaged me a while back, and he was giving me some tips for the boost control and things like that. And what I was going to do originally, since I have an HP and not a Terminator, the HP actually lets you, it has an option to just use your map sensor to control boost in closed loop. And Matt was like, no, before you mess with any of that, he said, go ahead and just run duty cycle and figure out what your duty cycle is, which makes sense, guys, because basically, if you don't know, the Holley uses a table, and you put what duty percent equals how much boost in that table. And it's a closed loop system, which means the computer can compensate. So if you're way off, it can reel it in, and if you tell it you only want to make 10 pounds of boost, it'll only make 10 pounds, but it's going to bounce back and forth trying to hit that target if your tables, your duty cycle settings aren't at least close. So like Matt Happel said, I agree with him. It's a better idea to just run open loop first and figure out your duty cycles. Then once I get that table populated pretty close, then at that point I don't have to deal with duty cycles anymore. I can just say, hey, I want to make 12 pounds of boost, or hey, I want to make 18 pounds of boost, and the Holley will give me 12 pounds, 18, whatever I'm asking for. So I was going to experiment with that. Well, I was watching another one of Matt's videos, and on the setup he was working on, his boost controller, his Mac valve, it didn't really start affecting boost until he got to like 25% or something. So that's why I started so high. So I don't remember if it was the last video or the video before, I had this thing set on, it was either 25 or 30% duty cycle, and it was just boost spiking instantly, you know, to past 14 pounds, which is where I've got my my boost cut set. So we just kept immediately hitting boost cut every time I put my foot in it. So I came back, and once we got, you know, once we figured out we didn't have a blown head gasket or leaking head gasket, I decided to lower things down and try again. So I lowered it all the way down to 15% duty cycle, and I am happy to say at 15% duty cycle on the Mac valve, I was getting right under 7 pounds of boost. So about 3 pounds over gate. So guys, I'm stoked about that. That means I'm finally starting to make some progress on this. So I filled that out on the table, and my plan was to turn it up to 19% the next day, because it was actually pretty late when I come back. You know, I come back from vacation and we had a lot of stuff to do, so I didn't actually get out and get to test this until right before dark the next day. So I set that at 19 pounds. I was going to go back, or 19% duty cycle. I was going to go back out the next day and just start filling in my table. You know, I was going to find what was 9 or 10 pounds of boost, what was 12 pounds of boost, and just start filling in that table. Unfortunately, it has rained on and off every single freaking day, and that's why it's taken me so long to make a video. I've been waiting to make this video for like 3 days because I didn't have the camera with me when I went out and I made the hits and made 7 pounds of boost. I didn't have the camera in the car, so I wanted to wait to make this video till I had some road footage for you guys, because I know you prefer that to watching me sit here and talk. But that hasn't happened because it's been wet, and there's another reason too. So we're way beyond the limit of the street tires here. What's going on is first gear is totally useless, guys. So when I'm trying to get data, I have to do a roll in second gear, and on 7 pounds of boost, which I know isn't much, but even on 7 pounds of boost, this thing's still hazing the tires in second gear at a slow roll on. And I mean, when I say that, I mean what I'm doing is I'm lugging it down in second gear, going really freaking slow and just rolling into it, and it still hazes the tires up until about 70-ish, somewhere in there, and then it starts, you know, kind of trying to hook and go. But by that time, I'm usually out of real estate, because I do all my testing real close to home, and there's not a lot of roads that I can, you know, do 120 miles an hour on. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Now I could easily put the other set of wheels. Oh, you can't see them. So I could easily put our other set of wheels with our drag radials, our Mickey Thompson Pro brackets on. But the problem with that is, guys, these things are like $300 each almost. And I know you guys, some of you anyway, for some reason think I'm made of money, but I'm not. So that's $600 worth of tires. I'm telling you right now, driving those on asphalt eats them alive. Like, I probably wouldn't get 1,000 miles out of those tires just driving around normal on the road, let alone ripping it up. So I've made the decision that for the time being, I'm probably not going to be able to make any good hits or get any good data, you know, on the street. So I've decided this weekend, if the weather's good, we're going to try to get this girl to the track and really start dialing this thing in. I mean, we'll get our boost tables all figured out, our duty cycle tables. Now, I am still on 93 octane. So I'm probably not going to go much past maybe 12 pounds of boost right now. But I'm thinking about going ahead for the time being. I still don't have all the stuff for my fuel system. You guys know I've been collecting parts for that. It's going to, honestly, the fuel system is probably going to be the most expensive thing that I've done to this car yet. But we do have our Motion Raceworks adapter here for our flex fuel sensor. And I actually had some 10 orb to -6 fittings laying around. So what I'm thinking about doing is going ahead and just putting our flex fuel sensor up here for now and going ahead and wiring that in. And if I can find a fuel station that's actually got E85 somewhere around here, yeah, we could turn the boost up even more. Now, at that point, we'd probably just be limited by our pump or our fuel injectors, because we're still running the decap truck fuel injectors, which are like 76.5 pound when we had them flowed. But I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Adam Geske, because he has hooked me up with some Snake Eater 1500s. So he had these in his car. He was having some issues, but we're thinking now the issue might not have been these injectors. It might have been something else. So he upgraded to, I think, some Bosch 220s, and he hooked me up with these. So what I'm planning on doing, because he did run E85 through these for a while, and I'd really like to have them checked before I put them in the car. So what I'm probably going to do is get a hold of Eric Durr and send these to him, have him clean them real good and flow them. And at that point, the injectors won't be the problem. The only thing that'll be holding us back is the single 450 pump that's currently in our tank. So we'll get those injectors in. Thanks again, Adam, for sending those to me. I really do appreciate that. Once we get those cleaned and flowed, I'll get those put in. As far as the fuel system, I'm gathering parts, guys. I can prove it. I've actually ordered, like I said, this stuff ain't cheap. Even when, you know, you get more budget parts, I've actually ordered all the dash 6 fittings and the dash 6 line that I'm going to need for my surge tank. But I still have to save up and get the dash 8 line, which is going to be my return line, and the fittings for that. And I've got to get the most expensive, the dash 6 line, and we're doing PTFE for all of it. We're probably maybe a couple checks away from getting that done. Once I get everything in, guys, we'll do the surge tank setup. I showed you guys a while back the Radium surge tank that we're going to be mounting in the back of the car. We're going to start off with 2 Walbro 450s, and if we need more than that in the future, this guy holds a total of 3, so we can add a third one, which should be good for what, 1500 horsepower. So I doubt we will ever outgrow that, because I don't have that kind of money. And I really don't see myself ever wanting to go fast enough in this car to surpass a 1500 horsepower fuel system. But it'll be there if I need it. I'd rather have too much than not enough in this case. And while I'm giving shout outs, guys, so Phil Bethauser was nice enough to contact Monkey Fab, and he actually had these made custom for us. So these are plates to go around my fender exit exhaust. There's 2 of them here. So he had these made custom. You can see they say Bad Luck Garage on them. And the idea was they were going to go around my fender exit exhaust, but that's not going to work out now. We kind of blew that when we put the wastegate pipe out next to it, me and Brad. So we're going to have to save these for another project, but I just wanted to let Phil know. I wanted to give him a shout out and say thank you and let him know I really do appreciate this. I've got a project planned in the future that may only need one of these, but we will definitely use them at that time. I do want to say this though. What I'm wanting to do is I want to get something like this made to go around both pipes on both sides of the car. So what I might do is pull the pipes out, put me a piece of paper up here so I can trace out the holes and kind of make a template. And maybe I know one of you guys has actually made CNC parts for me in the past. So I may reach out and see if I can get somebody to CNC me something, because I really do like this. I mean, I think it's really sharp, and it was a really nice of Phil to have that done for me. I don't even know how much these cost, but I'm assuming they weren't cheap. and I hate that I can't use them now, but I mean, you know, shit happens. We did stuff the way we did it, and like I said, we'll use them in the future on another build. And a step beyond that, Zane Hobbs actually sent me these even before Phil had those made. Zane had some of these cut out for me, which was, you know, they're black on one side, they're just aluminum on the other, and that was going to be our paint protector first. He even sent me a bunch of, you know, a bunch of black pop rivets to put them on with, but obviously those aren't going to work either. So all these guys sending me stuff and I'm not able to use it, and I feel really horrible about it. But like I said, we'll use all this stuff eventually. This car wasn't the first project on this channel, and it damn sure won't be the last. So eventually we'll get to use all these parts that you guys keep sending me. Now, so far nothing but good news. We had a little bad news too, but it ended well. So we'll throw this in here. I know I said I wanted this video to be positive. So the other day when I drove the car, what I was just talking about, so after I came home, I parked the car, and I came back out here and I noticed the fuel pump was running. And I'm like, why the hell is the fuel pump running? The Holly controls the fuel pump, right? So I cycled the key on and off and it stopped. And then I was up here, I can't remember what I was doing, but I was up here piddling with something. And while I was up here piddling, all of a sudden the fuel pump comes on again. Key's not even in the ignition, guys. Like, there's no reason that fuel pump should be running. So the only way I could get the fuel pump to stop running is to actually come back here and, you know, shut off the battery power. So I had to turn that off. Let me double check here. Yeah, it's not running now. So I had to shut that off, and I could not figure out for the life of me. I got on Devin Vanderholt's group, the Holly EFI group on Facebook, and I was asking if anybody else had that problem, and not on that group, but I found in the Holly forum, I got on there and there were several people that had the problem, and everybody pointed to the same thing, the main relay in the Holly harness. Well, it just so happens I have my main relay plugs in, but because I followed the factory wire harness routing for this 3rd gen, the main relay ended up back here behind this splash panel, right? And there's the main relay. Well, if you notice something funny going on there, see the rubber grommet? Well, you shouldn't be able to, because this is supposed to use a sealed relay. If you guys don't know, the sealed relay is like this relay, but it's got a skirt that comes down and it seals over that right there, over that rubber seal, to keep water out of it. Well, apparently this relay has been replaced before, and it wasn't replaced with, because keep in mind, guys, I got this harness secondhand, and the guy who I got it from, I believe, got it secondhand too. So at some point, somebody has replaced the sealed relay with just a standard relay. Well, I had washed the car earlier that day, and I also sprayed out the engine bay, and I think what happened is some water probably ran down through this hole right here, down into the fender, down the harness, and got in between, was running in between where the relay plugs in, because it's not sealed. So I pulled the relay out and I turned it over. If you're on my Facebook group, the Bad Luck Garage Facebook group, you've already seen the picture. But as you can see, that whole relay was just full of water. I turned it over and it just started running out and puddling on the floor. So that was my problem the whole time. Water had gotten in the relay, and I guess it was shorting out the terminals and causing the main fuel pump relay and the Holly harness to stay active. Now, the kicker was, I went to every auto parts store around here. Nobody had the waterproof or weatherproof relays, so I ended up having to get on eBay, and I ordered a 5-pack of them. I think it was like 20 bucks or so. No, actually I ordered I ordered a 4-pack of them for $15.97, and I believe they're supposed to be here tomorrow or the next day. So for now, just to test my theory, I'd shoved that other relay that you see now in there, and sure enough, everything was good after that. Fuel pump goes on and off, you know, with the Holley the way it's supposed to, and that problem solved. So I guess that is good news after all. So that's all I got for you, pretty much, guys. I mean, that's all the good news anyway. After having 2 videos of bad news, I figured you guys might appreciate some good news. So this weekend, hopefully the weather will be good and I'll have a drag strip video for you guys. I don't know how exciting it'll be. It's basically going to just be me making passes, turning the boost up, making passes, turning the boost up. You get the picture. And then once we get all of our duty cycle settings figured out, then it's going to make things a lot easier on me, because like I said, I won't have to worry about keeping track of what duty cycle does what boost. I'll be able to just say, hey, I need 5 pounds of boost and I need it ramped in 2 seconds or whatever, and the Holley will do it for me, and it'll be all easy peasy. It'll make things a lot easier. It's kind of like when I was at the track and I was using the progressive nitrous feature, and I'm just explaining this. I know most of you guys know what I'm talking about, but just for you guys that don't, it's the same basic thing as using a progressive with nitrous, only we're doing it with boost. So once I get all these settings figured out, then we'll be able to ramp the boost in as fast or as slow as we want. So maybe if the track's not hooking as good, I'll be able to bring the boost in slow. If the track's dead hooking, doing great, you know, I might leave on 10 pounds, 14 pounds, whatever. But the last turbo build we did on the channel, you know, it was Project Steppenwolf. The only boost control I had was a bleeder valve. So I'm really happy to have this Holley, and I mean, honestly, I feel pretty blessed the way I got the Holley. Thanks again, Josh. But I'm really happy to have all this technology that I get to play with now on this, and I'm hoping because of that technology, maybe I won't have all the problems that I had with Steppenwolf. That, and you know, I learned a lot from Steppenwolf, guys, and we did a lot of stuff different with this turbo setup. So yeah, well, you live and you learn. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what hot rodding's about, guys. You know, you try something, if it don't work, you change it the next time, and that's kind of what we did here. We did a lot of stuff different on this build, so hopefully that's going to work out to our advantage. But you know, keep watching the channel, guys. Like I said, this weekend, if the weather's good, what I'm going to try to do is try to get to English Mountain. I've got to call Greg and see what time the gates open Saturday. And again, if the weather's good. Right now there's like a 40% chance of rain, I think, for Saturday, which is not good, but I'm hoping over the next couple days that'll go away. So the plan is to get up there early Saturday, as early as possible, and then hopefully I can come home, edit the video, and have you guys a video out either Saturday night or Sunday morning. And I don't know, you guys know the timing system at EMR is finicky sometimes. I'm looking around for my draggy. I don't know what I've done with it, but oh, there it is. So I love English Mountain, guys. I love going there. The biggest problem I have with English Mountain is the timing system. It's kind of iffy up there, and a lot of the times it's not working. And that's really the only reason that I go to Knoxville every now and then, is because, you know, part of this channel is I like to quantify my results and show you guys, you know, I did this to the car, it's now running this fast, or this slow, this sped it up, this slowed it down. And I can't do that if I don't have a functioning timing system, right? Right. So, because I love English Mountain so much and I would rather be up there racing, I went out and I just bought myself a draggy. If you don't know what a draggy is, these guys will tell you everything. 60 foot, quarter mile, eighth mile, 1 mile times, and they've been proven time and time again to be like deadly accurate. So I decided to get this, guys. This way, if I go to English Mountain, where I enjoy racing, if I go up there and their timing system isn't working, or even if they're having a no prep event, in which case they wouldn't be running the timing system anyway, or arm drop event, whatever you want to call it, I can still keep track of my times, and I can still let you guys know what I'm running. So that's our plan, guys. Hopefully Saturday morning, English Mountain, Saturday night or Sunday morning, have you guys a video out and let you know what this thing's running on 7 pounds, 10 pounds, 12, whatever we finally take it up to. That's the plan. See if we're doing any better with the boost than we were doing with the nitrous. You know what? Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think it's going to run, and let's just let's make it interesting. Let's do a couple numbers. Like, what do you think it's going to run? I can tell you I am going to run this car on 7 pounds and at least 12 pounds. So tell me in the comments what you think it's going to run on 7 pounds and what you think it's going to run on 10 pounds. And don't be asking me what's done to it, guys. There's literally a whole playlist telling you everything that's done to this car. So, but yeah, let me know, guys. Give me your best guesses in the comments. Then get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage. What's she gonna run?